Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Lights, Thunder, Action, Loki Special 6 featuring Liam Crowley will be on right after this song.
We got a sticky situation, honey. Can't you see we got 1,130,000 zombies? It's like for the living dead to go. Buzz, buzz all around your head to go. Zombies. Science, genetically altered minds, infested these words today. Those from the grave instead, reanimated zombie days ago. Buzz, buzz, all they please. C-O-M-B-E-Z. Zombies. C-O-M-B-E-Z. Zombies.
All right. Oh, okay. Looks like
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Loki Special 6 of Lights, Thunder, Action. It's Thursday, July 15th. Every week, two Thunder Buddies here at Lights, Thunder, Action. We discuss all things Marvel, Star Wars, DC, and the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, still working on stuff.
I'm David Thompson, and today we've got an exciting show for y'all discussing Loki Finale, Episode 6, for all time, always. With a very special guest we will get to in just one moment. But yes, we'll be talking all things Loki, full spoiler discussion on the finale and just the series as a whole. But before we dive into that conversation, Thomas, what else do you got for me?
What's happening to my computer? There we go. We got it. Every week we are live beaming directly into your homes and phones via our Facebook of Lights, Thunder, Action, the HWWS Twitch, and YouTube, and our Twitter of @LTA Podcasting. All of those links can be found at Linktree.com/LightsThunderAction. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow to view the live version of our show where you can interact with us. But as always, if you don't want to listen, look at our ugly mugs, where can they find it, David? Our beautiful voices.
Yeah, you guys can subscribe, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, our hosting site, Spreaker, along with a bevy of other podcasting platforms. Please, if you are searching for Lights Thunder Action, any podcast platforms where you can find the audio version, let us know if you cannot find us. We will try to get on there. We try to be anywhere you guys listen to audio podcasts. Driving your car, going for a run, check out our audio version of all of our live shows, the full catalog of all of Lights Thunder Action, including Loki specials, Falcon the Winter Soldier specials, everything, and including our interviews that we have done in the past. But Thomas, it's time.
It is time. Beaming in from Hangover City. You know him from the Direct Podcast. Freshly minted 21-year-old babyface Liam Crowley.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction. I always appreciate the Thomas Carter Rochester vibe that you bring with these intros. So yeah, excited to be on the show, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming back, Liam. We had an epic news-filled podcast live show when you were here the first time. Hopefully today doesn't run exactly 4 hours like it did last time or whatever it was. But thank you so much for joining us. Happy birthday. One day. Yeah. How does it feel? You're 21. You're legal. It's very exciting, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's weird, obviously. Very hungover because, we were out celebrating last night. But yeah, it's crazy to really take a step into adulthood. People always say when you turn 20 and go to college, you're an adult. But I feel like you don't really feel like it until you're fully 21. And it's still setting in. But hey, still talking comic book movies, still a kid at heart. So happy to have that still.
Yeah, absolutely. Thomas, buddy, how you doing today?
I am spectacular, David. Yesterday, in case anyone did not know, was Loki's day, and it was like the finale or something. It was kind of a big deal. People on Twitter were excited. But then I'm insane, so I went and watched the entire series last night after I got home from work to just be in the right frame of mind for this entire episode. And then I watched the superior Spider-Man film, the greatest one of all time, Into the Spider-Verse, just because I was feeling multiversal, David. David, how are you with those glasses and your beautiful branded shirt?
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing fantastic, man. Loki was a blast. I'm sad that it's over, that's how it always feels the day after one of these Marvel series ends, especially now that I was so looking forward to, the end of Loki matched with the Black Widow premiere. And now that's gone. That's poof over. I've watched Black Widow now 3 times. Me and my buddy last night checked it out at his apartment on my Disney Plus account. Got some more use out of that. Obviously watched Loki. And I watched my personal favorite Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2, for no good reason. Just the fact that I felt like it. And I saw a clip on Twitter and I'm like, I really want to watch this movie right now. So I rewatched that. It is funny. I will say that it is my personal favorite. And I do truly still believe it is the best Spider-Man movie. There's just so many funny things that have aged, not poorly necessarily, but just are like of a different time. It's a 2004 film, Spider-Man 2, and even more, especially in the first one, which is 2002. But yeah, it's a great time. And there's so many little Tobey Maguire things that make me chuckle, but I just love them so much. And Liam, has there been anything you've been watching lately you want to bring to the table today?
What have I been watching? Outside of Loki, I'm trying to think where I've been occupied. I've been reading. I recently got a Captain America Winter Soldier graphic novel, the complete collection, which has been absolutely phenomenal. It's been cool to dive into that. I'm trying to think because I've seen stuff recently. I watched Shazam for the first time a week or so ago. Absolutely delightful. I wish all DC EU movies operated like that. It's literally like an MCU movie within the DCEU, just in terms of the tone and vibe that it brings. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of shows, I've been holding off because I've just been so in on Loki these past couple weeks. But I think I'm looking to get back into Peaky Blinders in a little bit. I know the last time I was on the show, I think I actually said that was what I was watching. And then I went on a hiatus once Loki came out. So might resume that soon. But yeah, I've been on an HBO Max kick lately just because of their enormous library of content. And I'm sure I'll find a new show on there sometime soon.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, these days with all these streaming services, there's so many like documentaries and interesting shows that I like want to watch across like Netflix and Disney Plus and HBO Max, and I put them on my list and all that, and then I just like I haven't gotten to like hardly any of them. You know what I mean? It's so hard these days because there's just so much out there. There's really good sports documentaries on HBO Max I want to check out, but just haven't found the time.
Speaking of HBO Max, it's not at all what the topic's going to be about. We're not doing the news, but I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. Days run together these days. Titans season 3 trailer came out. Liam, have you seen Titans?
I actually tried to start it the other week, and I didn't not continue because I didn't enjoy it, but it was the Loki bug. You know what I mean? I'm gonna probably say that many more times on this podcast. I wasn't in love with the pilot. I've only seen the pilot from season 1, but based on the collection of characters they add in season 2 and everything I've seen from the trailers for season 3, I very much want to just sit down, commit, get through maybe some of the weaker elements of season 1, so I can eventually embrace Red Hood when he shows up in season 3.
Yes. I'll pitch it this way. Season 1 and season 2 are like the pilot of Titans in terms of assembling the team. Season 1 gets to a point, and then they were just like, yeah, we decided not to do this next bit of the season. So we pushed that to season 2 to open on this big triumphant thing and then go back into character development. And it kind of worked. But then season 2 went kind of different episodes, had different character one-shots, if you will. So it feels jumbled, but at the very end, when you get to the final, assembling of it all, it's well worth it. It feels a lot more earned, just because you have sat through, what is it? By that point, you're looking at like almost 16 or 17 episodes that are like an hour. You've put half a day or so of your life into it. So, but it does pay off. And poor Jason Todd, he's gonna get beat with that crowbar. I'm so sadistically excited for this. I can't lie. I never thought we'd ever see a live action version, so that we're getting any interpretation, and they're going right into Red Hood. Double chef's kiss. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. We're gonna have a quick ad break because David's wearing one of our shirts. I'm wearing one of our shirts, and you can buy one of the. Liam, we'll have to get you a shirt.
I know I'm rocking the Avengers today.
I love that shirt. I like the maroon.
Thank you. Yeah.
It bounces.
I need an LTA shirt ASAP.
Need an LTA shirt ASAP. We have some new designs coming out. We haven't launched them yet because it's a lot of work, and there's only 3 of us. So take that to the bank, or our store.
Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you about the Life of Thor Productions official shop, the only place where you can get your official merchandise for the LightsThunderAction podcast and Life of Thor's Thor Watches series. Whether you want t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, mugs, and masks, Life of Thor Productions official shop has you covered. If you happen to recognize there's an item that you would like to buy that is not in the official shop, head over to the LightsThunderAction podcast or Life of Thor and request that item, because if you want it, we'll sell it. Just head to lotproductions.threadless.com/collections to get the item that calls out to you via the Force. Again, that is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. Thank you, and have a Thortastic day.
I'm GW Pomacher.
I'm Dina Marie.
I'm Sage Ia.
I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
Hey, I'm David Thompson.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mia.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hey there, this is Dave Adams.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Rose.
Jerome Conner here.
Hey guys, it's Josh Bauer.
Willow Schuyler.
I'm Cosplay Michael.
Abba. It's your boy Country.
I'm Ryan Permison.
And I'd like to ask you guys,
please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please
subscribe.
Subscribe.
Please subscribe to HWWS
WebTV.
Great bunch of people.
And don't forget to smash the bell.
Ring that bell.
Smash that bell.
Hit that bell.
Hit the bell to be notified.
Hit the bell to get notified of new shows
and videos.
You're going to want to do that, so do that soon.
So we can cross that 20,000 mark.
And get us to 100,000 subscribers.
To 1 million and 10 million and 100 million.
On HWWS.
WebTV.
You'll really like it. I guarantee it. Thank you.
It's quick news segment. What the news? Loki variety.
Yeah, so what the news this week is less of really me breaking down the news and more of a, all right, Loki season 1 ended. What's going on now? Obviously, mid-credit scene hit.
Wait.
Yeah, I was going to say.
First. Thank you, Agatha. Thank you.
Yeah, spoilers. We're in the spoiler zone with Loki. Season 2 is confirmed. It was long rumored. There had been a lot of hints that there would be a Loki season 2, but officially in the mid-credit scene, boom, stamp, we are getting Loki will return in season 2, our first Disney Plus MCU project, which will get a second season. And I'm not surprised, but I'm kind of thinking that from here on out, more like our characters that are introduced in Disney Plus series may get more secondary seasons, like WandaVision set up for her to continue in movies. Same with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Loki kind of did both, where the events of it set up movies, but the characters in the show still have a lot more story to be told, I suppose, which is kind of part of what I want to talk about a bit later. I'm going to add on the second part of news here, just as one thought. So from the Hollywood Reporter, the Loki finale set the stage for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Obviously, that's coming March 25th, 2022. Hiddleston's Loki character is also expected to... Wait. All right, come on, Hollywood Reporter. 2 alsos. Come on, people. Come on. appear in the next Doctor Strange. Marvel has yet to confirm whether or not that's happening. So that's actually really big news to me, because even with the events of Loki, I didn't expect Loki to actually be in that movie, even with the events of it, because it seems like he's kind of on his own, almost like side quest through the multiverse, and then like they'll be on there, because the multiverse can affect a lot, all around the galaxy and the universe, essentially. So like the fact that they're actually going to meet up in some form or fashion. First thing, Loki season 2 is coming, and that Loki is expected to also appear in Doctor Strange. Liam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like it's appropriate for him to show up in Doctor Strange just because of where everything was left off. And he kind of seems like, interestingly enough, because he was the one who helped Hulk escape, and Hulk sent the warning about Thanos, Loki seems to be the one now warning about Kang. And I don't expect Kang to really be in Multiverse of Madness aside from a post-credit scene, which I think is very, very, very probable. But I would be surprised to not see him in this movie, considering how he's quite literally like teed up this giant storyline that we're gonna set on. As for season 2, me and Matt had a really, really in-depth discussion about this on the podcast that's going to drop tomorrow about where it shows up in the Phase 4 slate, because TV, we're so used to a season every year, but, does Loki season 2 drop this time next summer ahead of Ant-Man Quantumania, or, does Ant-Man Quantumania have to happen first? Like, it's a different situation from, say, The Mandalorian, where The Mandalorian's not reliant on other projects in order to continue its story. Loki being in the MCU and everything having a purpose when it comes to their release schedule, it makes me wonder about, does this season 2 get held off for maybe 2 years, or does it get fast-tracked and inserted into an already jam-packed 2022 for Marvel? So I'd keep a lookout for it. I think it's going to be interesting.
Thomas, what do you think of this news?
I think it makes perfect sense. As soon as we saw it start branching in the teasing episode of, what was that? Episode 2, right?
2. Yep.
Isn't that when we thought they broke the multiverse?
Yeah. That was child's play.
Literally child's play. So now that we saw it branching out, the first thing I thought of was, well, he has to show up in Doctor Strange in some fashion, right? To, the Multiverse of Madness seems to be doing something very specific, but like all things, something related to time in multiverse, it's gonna touch Kang at some point. In the spoiler alert, at some point in the future, they're gonna have to broach Kang with Doctor Strange, and if they have a small little, oh, we just crossed paths kind of situation. I want to get into the idea of the layered multiverse more later, because that brings up some stuff from Endgame and how Stark found how to get through the quantum realm.
Right.
So David.
Yeah, a couple more of my thoughts on this is I'm excited that Loki season 2 is happening. It's funny, Liam, you point out, I'm excited to listen tomorrow to the podcast, is with Quantum Mania. I forgot about that being like be essential to where this comes out, because I'm like, oh yeah, like 2022, will they make it? Will it be 2023? One of the writers said they're like just working out the story right now. They haven't even really like written out like the whole like the script yet for it. So it's pretty very early on. It could get fast tracked though. So when it comes out, I'm not holding my breath, especially because it kind of happens out of time. Essentially, I could see where they put it. I expect it in 2023, probably after Quantum Mania, but you never know. As I previously said, I'm kind of surprised that Loki's going to be in Doctor Strange, but more the merrier. This movie is going to be crazy. And there was a still going around from a comic book of like Wanda, Doctor Strange, and Loki all using their magic in a circle. And it's like, oh, a shot like that would be so funny, right? Just kind of our three main like wizards, magicians, witches, whatever you want to say, all using like magic around each other would be such a sweet shot. We need that. We need that Avengers kind of sorcery shot in this movie. That'd be awesome. Thomas, I want you to go through this plot because you wrote it out. I really enjoy it. I love the plot because that's what the plot for this show is actually probably the most simple of the season. Would you guys agree? Considering for like 40 minutes, it feels like it's just Kang talking to Sylvie and Loki at a certain point where there's like talking back and forth, and it's a marvel. Jonathan Majors kills it as Kang, because the fact that I was still like just focused on the screen when they're literally just speaking back and forth is come on, that huge kudos to the actors in that room. But Thomas, give me the plot of episode 6.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. First off, is it the greatest opening crawl of all time? The Marvel Studios logo with the audio.
Yeah.
That just, I kind of want to taco about this real fast. Did you guys see the ship? Like there was a specific spaceship flying out. It's our sun. It seemed to be our Earth, and then it starts zooming out, and then you see a ship come by, and then it zooms out further, and then I'm assuming we have multiverses, or at least brown dwarf stars that are next to each other. Did y'all see a ship come out?
Can't recall.
Damn, dude, I thought everyone saw that. So there's a ship, and on Phase 0, they were discussing, like, is it Fantastic Four ship? Is it this ship? Is it that ship? And I've not gone back to compare the still frame, but from what I remember, it's the exact same ship as Natasha gets, and it looks the exact same as the ship they use when they go in Endgame for Thor to just, finally learn how to aim for the head. I think it's that shit.
Like a Quinjet, you mean?
Yeah, it's a Quinjet-esque thing, but like that's what it looked like to me. I thought it looked like that to everybody. I also thought everyone saw it, but
I didn't notice it. And Liam,
really?
You wrote the article about the opening where you broke down all the different all the different like lines and stuff.
Oh my lord!
All the lines that matter.
He listens to the podcast. Incredible. Yeah, but that was something else. That was a beast of an article. It was putting everything in half speed and subtitles on, start, stop. And, they were very distinguishable at first, but then they started getting more and more layered. An interesting thing I noticed was no Tony Stark quotes specifically, just the Iron Man repulsor blast. And some speculation I had was, we know he's been recast for What If, most definitely due to money. He drives a steep bargain. But fans of film will know that any actor that appears, any actor's likeness that appears in a future film, they get to cash in on some royalties. So even if Jake Gyllenhaal isn't in Spider-Man No Way Home, he's going to make some money when there's Mysterio posters out there and all that. So I think that this might be a situation of our RDJ that is so expensive these days that they were like, you know what, we can pay tribute to Iron Man with a repulsor blast. We're going to hold off on any Tony Stark quotes. just because it would double the budget for an already super expensive show.
Yeah, and that's funny because that kind of ties into recently. I think it was a writer for Black Widow mentioned how an early script for the movie had just a scene from Civil War in the script, kind of just to remind the audience that that's where we are in time in the MCU. And my same thought was, it probably didn't work out because they knew they'd have to pay RDJ just so much just for a little thing that wasn't even necessary. But that's a good call on that because I think that's probably exactly why they didn't have Tony Stark. When you'd think that would be one of the main characters they'd have in such a recapping of an opening crawl. But yeah, Thomas, man, I love this. I said it to I know I texted it to you, Thomas, when I clicked play. And immediately when I start hearing the voices and like the sound, and it's the music from the end of Endgame, I immediately sat up. I'm like, okay, we're in, we're going. Like this is gonna be insane. So yeah, great opening.
One thing I noticed, a lot of AntMan in that opening. Between Hank Pym, the two or three quotes from Scott Lang, Sam talking to Scott Lang, good job, Tic Tac. Like that's the first words that we hear, if I'm not mistaken, is Sam, right? So a lot of Ant-Man, Quantumania. Let's get here because, as the Superior Spider-Man movie says, time is relative, and
You're just not thinking fourth dimensional.
So let's dive into this plot. David, I've been working on that. That was the last thing I was doing.
So much for getting it in there.
You're welcome, man. First off, there's a lot of captivating walking. The music from Natalie Holt, brilliant. Now I'm going to run through this real fast, okay? Jonathan Majors, Kang backstory, boom. Looking for this? Sylvie chooses violence, lovers quarrel, the kiss, the betrayal. Death to Kang, multiverse explosion. Why the goddamn fuck does Mobius not know Loki? We'll get into that. I'm actually very upset about that one. But then again,
You're just not thinking fourth dimensional.
yeah, it'd be like that. Credits. Oh, just kidding. Mid-credits season 2 stamp. Boom. That's the plot because they just talk for 40 minutes. It's amazing.
And we can't gloss over it. Elevator opens, and there's Jonathan Majors just sitting there with an apple. Hey, what's up, everyone? So I watched it the first time in the morning. My girlfriend had class. I'm like, I gotta watch this and get ready to write articles, right? And she's like, yeah, it's fine, just do it. Okay. And I watch it. I'm like kind of going crazy in my head. She comes, and we're watching it later. And it opens up and she's talking. She's like, because she keeps up with it kind of. And I'm like talking to her about all these like theories and everything. And she's got it on her TikTok and stuff. She's like, is that Kang? Is that supposed to be Kang? And I'm like, yeah, that's him. And she's like, I love him. And I'm like, yeah, he's really good. And like, I just thought it was such a cool like zag from what we've had with a lot of villains in the MCU. And it sets up how there could be so many different versions of the character where like this one was so like unassuming, right? End of Avengers, excuse me, post-credit scene and the glance from Thanos, it's like, oh, like something big is coming. Kang, elevator opens, hey, what's up? Like we starts talking and it's like I just absolutely loved it. I love the fact that they set up, like you said, the backstory of Kang. It seems like the multiversal war. If we choose to believe that, if we choose to believe that's what actually happened, that's what's the issue about this show. Talking about trust, it's hard to trust like what is real and what's not real still. Because as Kang says, we're all villains here. And we keep hearing stuff from like villainous organizations where we can't fully trust what's happening. But if we're going to go with that, the multiversal war happened that they talked about in episode 1, but the timekeepers were never existing. It was just a bunch of Kangs, which is straight out of the comics and really cool. And the fact that the episode ends with Kang's death and I'll see you soon and a wink. I mean, perfect setup for the character. Like I absolutely like killed it. I couldn't be more happy about that. And the fact that this show to me is less of a show and more of a vessel to season 2, to Multiverse of Madness. Like I do have some critiques in that sense where I absolutely loved it, but like from point A to point B, like from episode 1 to episode 6, it's kind of weird the direction we go. We don't really dive as deep into maybe the TVA and the characters as much. We kind of like go to the variants and then introduce Kang and blow this whole thing open. I'm rambling, but what do you guys think specifically of Jonathan Majors, which, I mean, huge deal. This could lead to so much in the future. Jonathan Majors' introduction into the MCU. Liam, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, he was suave, he was captivating, he was charismatic. He's everything I wanted from this character that I didn't realize I wanted, because Kang on the page is so, you know, stoic and, you know, married to the mission and doesn't really have, I feel like, a grand personality, at least from the runs that I've read that he's been included in. This was, I'm the one who always tosses out the giant superlatives, but I can't think of a villain introduction in the MCU that I liked more. Thanos was great for the post-credit scenes, but they were just brief teases. Getting, you know, 40-something minutes of dialogue from this character, the good variant of this character, because I'm of the position that he was a necessary evil. He was pruning timelines. He was trapping variants in the void, but it was all to keep the balance of said sacred timeline. Right. And him selling, you know, himself basically to the audience of, hey, well, if you think I'm evil, wait till you meet my variants. That line keeps me up at night. Genuinely. Yeah. It's terrifying. He's next level. I think Jonathan Majors, I didn't know much of his work beforehand. And when he was cast, I was only a tad upset because me and my friends were very big on Denzel Washington in the Kang role for whatever reason.
Oh my god!
Obviously, he would be a very expensive actor, but you know, if you're gonna make a character legit just from casting, Denzel will do it. But I thought Jonathan Majors, you know, trust Sarah Finn with whatever she does. She's phenomenal at casting everyone in the MCU, and I think Majors is another home run. And I'm desperately craving more of this character ASAP.
Yeah. Thomas, what'd you think of Kang? First time in the MCU.
It's about damn time, was my thought. You know, I went full LeBron. He opened the door and I went, oh, finally. I love Kang. If I had to rank top 5 Marvel characters of all time, Kang is 4. Okay. That's how much I love Kang. Why do I love Kang? Because time, man. Jonathan Majors, dude, brilliantly portrayed Kang or Immortus, or let's be real, Nathaniel Richards variant. The first one that we've met, and, you know, it takes him on this, well, I'm presuming it's Nathaniel Richards, of course, an emotional journey in this episode. I mean, he sucks you in by being a child and being kind of whimsical and Wonka-esque, and then when he starts talking about what he had to do, you see him really change in a way of just, it kind of nearly broke him to do what he did. And you can see him showcasing that. And it's beautiful. And he basically told us the entire story of the MCU as we know it. I do trust what he said about, at least in the sense of the Kang War was nearly going to destroy the fabric of all realities. I mean, that's really par on the course when you are messing with time. So I think the best introduction we could have had for Kang, and the line of, you know, I'm a lot older than I look, just, I felt that in my soul. Because, I mean, again, David,
you're just not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Get ready, kids. That's going to happen a lot.
Seriously, and I want to dive into some of these questions I had. So hard kind of tangent, take a step back, bigger picture here. I tweeted this out a little bit ago, like maybe a week or two ago, where I'm like, I am of the mindset that Spider-Man No Way Home is waiting, like Sony Pictures, Marvel Studios, they're waiting for Loki to end in order to release that trailer. Loki's done. So when does it happen? And I don't know if it's in July. Obviously there is a big blockbuster happening with Suicide Squad in August. Maybe it's then, but September is really like when they have to have it out by then, because then we have Shang-Chi at the beginning of that month. And then 2 weeks later we get Venom, Let There Be Carnage. So it'll be at least by then, but I mean, we're gonna get just a teaser. We're like 6 months out now. We ultimately, because of delays, we got a Batman teaser 16 months before it's gonna be released. So Liam, when do you think a No Way Home trailer, which so many people are just going crazy about, wanting it, clamoring, been waiting since June 1st. When do you think we'll get one, if you had any kind of guess?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if we don't get it by the end of this month, so literally in the next 2 weeks. But I wouldn't bet on it just because I really don't know what their marketing strategy is with this movie. But if we don't get it by the end of the summer, that would be extremely, extremely surprising. Because as you mentioned, when Shang-Chi hits theaters in September, that puts us 3 months out, which is even like, I understand protecting spoilers, but that's a very tight window for a marketing campaign. Like Marvel usually starts, from what I remember, just because I'm a junkie when it comes to trailers, the first Avengers trailer was attached to Cap First Avenger, which was July of 2011, so like 10 months before. And then Age of Ultron's first trailer, remember that whole fiasco when they were like, oh, it's going to be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., please watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then someone leaked it early, and they're like, all right, well, bonus scene on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you care, please watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was like October before a May release. So most of these big blockbusters within the MCU start their marketing campaigns a good 7 to 10 months beforehand.
Wasn't Infinity War a full year? Or
there was a Comic-Con trailer that never got officially released, and then Infinity War was also another, I believe, October, September situation before a May release.
Still
exactly. So 5 months. We're 5 months out right now, so we're very much in that window. I also am of the belief that they were waiting for Loki to end, because I think they're going to use a lot of Loki vocabulary in the first teaser trailer. I expect to hear the word variants at least once.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, from there, I would expect nothing for a couple months, maybe a second. See, it's actually wild right now, because it's like if we get a trailer at the end of the month, I would almost expect a second trailer attached to Shang-Chi, like a new one. Right. Or maybe they hold off until Eternals in November. But we're really going to see this thing kick into full gear, I would say, by the end of the summer.
Yeah. Thomas,
when is Venom again? That's
September 17th. It's 2 weeks after Shang-Chi. Which is bad. It's bad for Shang-Chi right there. 2 weeks later, your box office is just gone.
And Venom's no joke. Venom's a heavy hitter. Most profitable Spider-Man quote-unquote movie before Far From Home. Unreal.
Do you guys think that they would release the trailer for Shang-Chi or for Venom?
I would think
like
they
that
would
second
do it.
one.
Oh, the second one?
The second one, yeah.
If they were to do a second one,
I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Venom's more appropriate because it's a little later, only 2 weeks, but a little later. But at the same time, who knows?
It's more attached to Sony,
Exactly.
Like Sony's still in charge here. Like, what's Disney paying for? They're putting in 15% of the financials now and getting 15 back. So like that's still like just a little bit. And the marketing wise, I mean, it's in coordination, but Sony's still trying to drive people. You know what's crazy, and I think would like be a really bold move and awesome, similar to Universal's tactic with having the 5-minute teaser for Jurassic World in IMAX only play ahead of another Universal film in F9, is if they did an IMAX only or like a theater only look at Spider-Man No Way Home before Venom. The way that these trailers are rolling out, it could maybe make more sense if they do a teaser and then a weird like look at the movie in front of Venom and then a full trailer. But are they going to skip a teaser at this point? It's like, are we really going to get a full trailer, quote unquote, in October or November, like a month or two before the movie comes out? That's just so crazy to me. And I'll be honest, I'm not disappointed or of course I want to see a trailer, but I'm happy they didn't start because a week or two before the movie comes out, they're going to throw everything at us on TV spots and this and that. And the point is, if this movie is as grand as it seems like it's going to be, everyone's going to go see this. They don't need all these trailers. And it's that sweet spot Christmas release date where it's just like been money for Star Wars. I think it's going to be killer, and I don't think they're in any rush. I think they're waiting for Loki. I think they might do something funny, funky with Venom because Sony likes to boost up Sony. We'll see, guys. I don't know. But I think
Spidey bells, yeah, they're ringing then.
I think whenever it does drop, it'll just boom be on the internet and it'll catch everyone by surprise. It's got to be done by now, you'd think, right? Like
the trailer or the movie?
The trailer.
Gotta be.
I would assume that the trailer's in the can, ready to go. The movie, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not done. I heard that they finished the Loki finale like between episodes 1 and 2 when they had aired. Like they finished editing it. So
yes, I saw that too.
Sometimes they go right up until the buzzer.
And with COVID and everything, and there was
and same with WandaVision, I do believe.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never even read about or heard any news of No Way Home having reshoots or anything like that. And those could have been happening under the table. We don't know. I don't know. It's complicated, and especially the fact that I was thinking about it, like Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man were essentially like filming at the same time, and supposedly Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch are going to be in both movies. So I have no idea how they worked through that, but I feel like the movie may not be actually done, and that could be part of this sort of wait, but I don't know. One other thing, diving back into the actual plot of Loki that I really
that's right. We're talking Loki, not Spider-Man.
Oh, you know me.
Not yet.
Gotta take on the dive into Spider-Man a little bit.
We'll circle back to him, don't worry.
The TVA, right? Show's basically ending. Oh, this is such a great ending. Oh, I loved it. Loki comes out, he gets pushed through the portal by Sylvie. Loki's running out. He goes and talks to B-15 and Mobius, and they look at him like he's crazy. And then he looks up and he sees a Kang or whatever man at the end. What they call him?
He who remains.
Yeah. He who remains standing there as this one statue. What'd you guys think of that? Because my interpretation was that he got transported back, and now it's almost like normal like timeline, like time travel storytelling, where it's like, they messed up something in the past, and then when he jumps to the future, it's all screwed up. Where he got back to the TVA, and now this new TVA, it's almost like this new kind of company in a way, or whatever you want to call it. Their new mission is, to control the multiverse, or like be aware of the multiverse. And Kang, a variant of Kang, is in control. And I don't know. Please, someone help me understand this, because I honestly was so confused. But the acting by Hiddleston was so great, and just the defeat and him just being like, "Oh no!" and like he was so scared when he was talking to B-15 and Mobius, being like, "He's coming, he's coming." Oh, I absolutely loved the ending. Liam, what do you think's going on here at the end?
I'm actually very, very happy that Mobius didn't know who Loki was. Not because I don't love their friendship, I absolutely do, but it made a very key decision that something has changed and no one else knows about it. And you cannot have Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Eternals, Shang-Chi, everything else in Phase 4 come out in between Multiverse of Madness, Quantumania, the movies we know are going to continue this storyline, and just ignore it. Like, it's the same reason why Ant-Man and the Wasp took place before Infinity War and Captain Marvel was a prequel, because you can't just have future movies ignore, or like not ignore per se, because the MCU would never ruin continuity like that, but significantly rework movies to incorporate the 5-year gap, to incorporate half the planet getting decimated. So with the multiverse situation that they have going on, I like that it's secret. That's a key word right there. And I think we're going to hear it a lot more as people talk about this more, because it needs to operate like away from the public eye. I understand the gripes of like, classic time travel project where something changes in the past, the future, and then it changes when you go back to present day. But I think it's a necessary stylistic decision in order for the rest of Phase 4 to operate.
Yeah. Thomas,
I agree.
What do you think?
I love the Mandela effect of it all. I mean, I have those days. I literally had one today. I was like, oh, yeah. And they're like, I never said that. I was like, who the fuck told me? I'm just like, I don't know who told me this then. So I have those all the time. And just seeing how I want to know about the TVA, like what, because it's very obvious that it's Kang the Conqueror based upon the specific suit that he's wearing. That's my favorite shot of probably this entire series now, because it's just him in his classic Kang pose with his classic literally cloth and some kind of plastic or I have no idea armor, and it just looks so comic accurate and goofy, and yet it's like that is the most terrifying thing I've seen since Thanos looked out of his side eye and had crystal blue eyeballs. So I really love that Kang is at least hammer fisting down the TVA, but it does make me question, outside of the TVA where we know time works differently, what else has happened? What else has changed? And when will we, the audiences, know that? But I think that this multiverse thing and the variance of it all is going to open up, in my opinion. Obviously, we're going to get to Secret Wars in a minute. We all think it's getting there. But I think if Kang is the long game, like Thanos, 20-something movies, right? Are what designed that period of time. So if we have, say, 20-something projects to cover the next period of time, you can crank out stuff faster, but I highly doubt they're going to do a huge story in 20 projects and not have an Avengers film.
Yeah, and what's funny about it, and I want to take it somewhere else, like on that note, Thomas, in just 1 second, but what's funny is like 20-something projects nowadays is like, what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Because of all the Disney Plus shows, which is so crazy. And
exactly. So before you go there, I think that before we get to that point in 20-something projects or 20 years or whatever they may do with Kang, when it comes to Secret Invasion, something we know for a fact is happening, I think the opening of the multiverse is actually going to kickstart the paranoia with Secret Invasion, because they're already, there's two of me. Well, that's super weird. And then you have Skrulls. Maybe the Secret Invasion is just people from the multiverse coming in and trying to reassume people's lives.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Liam talking about continuity, like the fact that they're opening this up right now is just so wild to me. Like, where there's so many, I think, smaller stories still to be told. Like, say, Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, where like they're not all going to be these multiversal crazy stories like that are like mind bending. But what we do know is going to be a part of that is AntMan Quantumania, and that we know for a fact. And I really want to talk about this movie. So it's what, February 2023, which is a bad month. They put it in like a shitty month, which is funny.
Deadpool.
And 2023. What's even going on then? Marvels, I think, is that. Or no, Marvels is next year, July of next year. Wow. But Quantumania, right?
Wait, it's in February of 2023.
Quantumania is, yeah.
Okay. Did you have a question on when we think season 2 will be? Is that in here? I don't know.
No. Yeah. Well, we kind of brushed on it earlier, but I kind of wanted to talk about maybe the plot of Quantumania and like how this leads into that. And Thomas, like, I kind of wanted to throw it to you a little bit, because do you think this supports your theory that the TVA is in the quantum realm? Because I feel like the quantum realm, it's called Quantumania, for gosh sakes. Like, it is inherently tied to this. And I think that's where this all could be leading, where like the TVA is actually, there's some sort of connection with the multiverse, the flow of time, and the quantum realm. Because even in Endgame, we already pretty much know the answer to this, because they needed the quantum realm in order to time travel. Exactly. It's all connected, and as it always is. But I just feel like I'm surprised, one, that why is it in February? Like, why isn't that like the May release? But it is, in fact, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I just feel like this movie could have so many like big ramifications, including a possible introduction of the Fantastic Four, which is the odds-on favorite right now. Easily. It's easily the favorite for their introduction to be that.
Hi, doggy.
We don't know a release date for Fantastic Four. It's likely in 2023 based on the timeline and that it was announced. And that's obviously a probably has more potential to make more money. But this seems like the obvious, as of right now, place for them to be introduced. Thomas, what do you think about, your theory on the quantum realm, with the TVA being in the quantum realm, and how that could connect to Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I definitely still am of the mindset that the TVA is inside the quantum realm. I've not been shown any evidence against it, but I still have enough deductive reasoning to put it together, in my opinion, enough information to deduce it from.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think, why is it in February? Well, look at what WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier just did in those months. Who's to say that won't translate to the box office? Especially, and here it is, David, we were talking about this yesterday, when's Loki season 2? Especially if season 2 is starting at the end of 2022. And it goes for 6 weeks, and then it ends, and you go right into Quantumania, where if we are getting the version of Kang that I know and love, then it seems as though season 1 is the introduction to it all, and I assume the inciting incident will happen in Quantumania, in the hero's journey of Kang in the MCU.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Liam, what do you think about all these connections with Loki and Quantumania?
Yeah, real quick on the box office. Black Panther was a February release. That made $1 billion, So
that's crazy. Yeah, it was.
So I don't think that Quantumania is necessarily going to be worried about making some money, but I really don't think that the Kang story ends in Quantumania. I think, similar to Infinity War, I think it's going to be a bad day at the office for our heroes. And I expect, we don't have an Avengers 5 on the docket right now, but after Quantumania comes out, I think we get an Avengers 5 confirmation.
I think we'll get one before then.
We'll probably know from filming, but I think we'll get a title reveal, something like multiversal war. Actually, they've used war too many times. they can't go back to it. They'll figure something out. But I would be shocked if this Kang storyline doesn't come to a head in an Avengers movie. And I feel like the beauty of what they're doing now is the Infinity Saga was fantastic, right? We all loved it, but I don't think they ever want to go back to, okay, we just had our Infinity War and Endgame. Now let's do an Avengers movie where they battle in New York City and they face off against one villain. They want to continue to up the scale, and Endgame's going to be a tough one to beat. And rather than just being okay, let's milk this franchise, let's pump out Avengers movies every 3 years, they're okay, let's wait until, say, a 2025, 2026. Man, those years don't even sound real. And we can set up the events of that movie. So Ant-Man, Quantumania, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Loki, Spider-Man No Way Home all feel like they're leading up to it, similar to how 2012's Avengers, Age of Ultron felt like they were leading up to Infinity War. This way, they avoid oversaturating the Avengers property and making Avengers movies just for the sake of it. And they consequently actually make the solo movies that much more consequential, which is fantastic. So I really love what they're doing, and I like the patience of holding off on a fifth Earth's Mightiest Heroes flick for a little bit.
And I think Avengers 5 actually could be in May 2024. That would not actually surprise me, because if they announce it this year at, say, Disney Investor Day, Avengers Secret War, whatever you want to call it. Maybe not war, because it has been overused. Even though I feel like
it's been used once.
Civil War and Infinity War.
Oh, in Avengers, it's been used once.
Oh,
yeah. Civil War, yeah.
But the big, a lot of wars happening. I think they might still use Secret Wars just because it's a cool ass name, and it'll drive people to the theater. If they even go that direction, who knows?
Yeah.
But it could be as soon as 2024, honestly. If they that's 5 years after the latest. They'll have a lot to work with in between them with all the Disney Plus shows, and there'll be a lot of setup, like a lot of sequels happening with the Marvels and Doctor Strange and Black Panther, and obviously a third movie in AntMan, where like that's kind of when you get at least in the history of the MCU, like after the next set of sequels, then you get the big crossover. So that I would love that, but we'll see. So let's kind of move on here.
Avengers 5 title, Avengers Out of Time.
Ooh.
I kind of dig it.
And that's a point I wanted to bring up. Sorry, I actually almost moved on before saying it. And that runs into Secret Wars and maybe Avengers Out of Time, where like, okay, so let's say it ends in Secret Wars, multiverses, they're colliding. If that 2024 or 2025, I like the idea of this is the new direction of the MCU, where instead of the Infinity Saga, where Thanos was pulling the strings for 10 years, it's, okay, in the next Avengers movie, that's Kang's big, like, he's the big bad, and they've set him up for the last, what'll it have been, 3 or 4 years, and boom, we get the big Kang movie, and Kang's defeated by the end of that one. And then they move on to, say, Galactus, or another big bad. Doom. Yeah, that's the thing too, Dr. Doom, and that could be Doom and Kang. Yeah, what I was thinking. Yeah, so I don't know. I think they might go a different direction, where it may not be kind of what you were saying, Liam, where it's like, we waited for Thanos forever. I think it could be like, all right, Avengers 5, we get Kang. Avengers 6, like 3 or 4 years later, we get another big bad that's been set up for that like bit of time. The fact that they're cranking out more and more projects in short amount of time, I think leads me to believe we're going to get more, I guess, grand, big, bad villains. And Galactus has to be one of them coming up. Like, come on, it's Galactus. I don't know how they're going to do Galactus, but I feel like he's coming.
I think they're going to wait until Fantastic Four are a little more established to pull the trigger on Galactus. I think Galactus will definitely show up at some point way down the line, but I think they're going to wait until they have like 2 Fantastic Four movies already complete.
I wonder if they know what they're doing for the next 20 years or like 10. Because I think they have and stuff.
Yeah.
David, have you heard the tale of the scroll of the timeline for the MCU?
Yeah.
It's a 16-foot scroll that goes back like tens of thousands of years. And if I'm remembering the quote, far, far, far in the future in the MCU. So 10 years, dude. I have a feeling that Kevin Feige has ideas for 100 years, like worth of projects. Because look at all the projects we've had in comics, right? You can always do it and reinvent. Say that again.
Oh, and they've like got all the rights to the characters now too.
Exactly. Like they can build up to an Avengers versus X-Men. And I don't know if they are gonna. I love your idea, David, that you had that. It's basically like building up through the solo issues, and then they're like, bam, we're having Secret War event. We're having War of the Bounty Hunters in Star Wars right now. War of the Realms. There's always a lot of wars going on, actually. You guys are right. Even in the comics. But I think that with Kang, they're presented a beautiful opportunity to have, say, one big bad, but then there's a bunch of other little bads going on at the same time. Secret Invasion could be all about the Skrulls, nothing to do with Kang. Right? And then you could have Doom doing his own little thing over here. And then it all kind of truncates and builds around. And they have that opportunity because you're
just not thinking fourth dimensionally.
They are thinking fourth dimensionally. Right. They've got the scroll. So the scroll, SCROLL, I say them the same. We're from the South, man. We say stuff the same. David, what is our next big question?
One thing I wanted to bring up, I sent this edit, I think to you, Thomas, where like someone edited together the opening, like with like the credit and like all of the passing all the planets and ending up at the end of time and the sacred timeline, and they edited it together with what if them kind of flowing through space, and it like matched up perfectly. So What do you guys think about What If coming out starting very soon? What is it? August 11th? Like, is that canon? Yeah, and I assume, like, is the answer just simply yes now after Loki, or is there more to it? Like, will there be, unlike what we've seen in Marvel TV before Disney Plus, where things from the movies would affect the shows, or they'd bring them up in the shows, but it wouldn't be the reverse of that, where like whatever the TV shows didn't really affect the movies as much? Could like The Watcher or any of these variants or whatever we see in What If actually come back into play in a live action project? Liam, what do you think?
I think now it's canon, essentially, because of the Loki finale, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm a little hesitant on it being like super canon, I guess, like in terms of like sacred timeline canon, I guess is what we'll pen it as now. Just because I think it does open up an entire new layer of the MCU, but then again, it's like that layer's already been opened with the Loki finale. So yeah, I'm super stoked for What If after the finale, because now it feels even more important. When me and Matt would talk about our anticipation for What If, we'd be like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun, you know, week to week, one-off adventures. But now after seeing the trailer, it looks like Captain Carter interacts with Doctor Strange. So maybe there's implications that they come together and there's a big storyline in the season. It's not just a bunch of one-off installments. But especially after what happened at the end of Loki, I wouldn't be surprised if the series opens with Jeffrey Wright narrating, like, you know, how about that, like that multiverse, huh? And something, he directly references the events of Loki's season finale and then emphasizes that like these are all tales from different universes. Yeah.
I'm curious, especially Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. I think has a lot of potential live action potential, just because I feel like he could play that character so well. Thomas, what do you think about What If?
I mean, David, you already know I was hype for What If because I knew what it was going to do. I'm currently trying to load that video on Twitter, but my technology. I am excited beyond belief because I'm wondering a lot of things. They've kind of opened up the idea in the past just couple weeks that maybe What If is actually going to be all the characters are gonna cross over at some point.
You wouldn't have heard of me.
Here's that video real quick.
Old friend from work.
I can do this all day. Yeah, I know. I'll show you first.
So this is it, sliced together.
Yes, sliced together, and I was fast forwarding, and there we go. So here's the ending. In fact, while we're here, let's look at the ship. Oh, missed it by 2 frames.
Yeah, I want to see this ship now that you mentioned.
Oh, right there.
Oh, hello. Yeah. It did look like a Quintjet, kind of.
Yeah, to me it did. Other people say it's not, and they somebody apparently went to a ship book, and couldn't find it. So intriguing.
It's like a
much intrigue. Ship. Yes. Here we go. This is the shot that we're getting.
So cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
What?
Oh wait,
that wasn't it.
Yeah, that wasn't it. Because then
what just happened?
We get the
Oh, I didn't. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's not it. You sent me so many videos yesterday.
I'm sorry, man.
It's all good, David.
But yeah,
I can't find it. I thought it was on Twitter.
It's all right. But yeah, basically that it does that and then zooms in, and then as you're zooming in, it switches to What If, and then you see like the different
shattered
glass of the different characters we're gonna get. I kind of wanted to switch things up a little bit real quick. It's just that we haven't really talked. We've kind of like talked about the MCU implications a lot. What do we think of the series as a whole? We don't get into rankings or anything like that right now, but I have some thoughts on this. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, like I was higher on it than most people that I talked to, where it's like, maybe some more casual fans of mine, like friends that are casual fans, were kind of like, oh yeah, like it's pretty good. Like, oh, I like Falcon the Winter Soldier more. My girlfriend liked WandaVision more. So and so. Or like some people like I don't like how Loki's kind of the good guy. Like I liked him as like the villain. Here's my thing. I really enjoyed it. My negatives, personally, I didn't. The Sylvie Loki thing to me really didn't like hit the way they wanted it to. Especially that kiss. I was like, okay. Like I liked how it ended with the kiss, and then boom, like I'm not you. Poof, you, like push him through the portal. That was cool. I liked Sylvie. I just don't think. I didn't love Sylvie. Let's just say that. Like her just kind of becoming this second best character, like a second leading character. I thought it could have been done a little bit better. I know that the point of the story, which I enjoyed, I enjoyed how Loki had this character development. I just thought making that a romance, even though they addressed that it's weird, I still thought it was just like simply just weird and unnecessary. It could have been more of a like friendship connection than what it ended up kind of becoming. But that's kind of nor here nor there. I just thought it was interesting how the series went from introducing the TVA, it being about Loki, kind of, and Loki going on this journey, and then boom, it's about Sylvie and more than that, to then introducing all these variants in episode 5, which I really, really loved. Classic Loki, alligator Loki. And then zoom, next episode, we open up the multiverse and everything flips on its head. I think for a season of television, it's not a season of television. It's 6 episodes of a part of a journey, which in a way is how some television works with, like, it kind of sets things up. But the conclusion is such a cliffhanger, and there's so much to continue here. I feel like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, specifically, and even WandaVision, had more of a beginning, middle, and end to it, in like a story they were telling. This one, of course, is going to be connected in a bigger way to the MCU than those shows. But I just thought, ultimately, it wasn't really a TV show to me. It was like this journey for Loki that's just kind of a segment in time. That could have been a movie. I don't know. It's almost like it's like a fragment of a show in some ways. Even though I loved it, I loved Loki. It ranks in like the top half of my MCU rankings. It's just like if you just were a casual fan, it's like, oh, this Loki television show. It's like, was that really a television show? Because we're so focused on Mobius and the TVA, and then just kind of becomes, oh, hey, here's the guy who's like gonna be in Avengers one day, and here's the multiverse. Boom, here you go. I mean, it'll continue in season 2, and that's why they're continuing it. But I just thought, as one collective season, it was hardly even a TV show to me, which is kind of a stupid gripe because I still loved it. But I kind of want to know what you guys think of that. Liam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but it does come in at number 3 on my MCU Disney Plus rankings.
Wow.
Just because I loved WandaVision and I loved Falcon Winter Soldier, and both of those finales landed for me. I know a lot of people weren't too over the moon by them, but I think the discussion on Loki being like, oh, far and away the best MCU Disney Plus show is very interesting right now because, like, of course, like what you want to like. I'm not going to like fault anyone for it, of course, but I think a lot of people are viewing this series right now with rose-tinted glasses because it's so MCU crucial. And it's weird to say that a negative for Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision is that they're individual stories. Like, that to me is such an odd gripe, because isn't that what film is? Like, individual stories? Like, not everything has to set up the next giant, war or whatever is going to go on in the MCU. So I think people look at Loki the same way I actually looked at Avengers Age of Ultron the second I came out of the theater in 2015. I still remember this. I went to the Thursday night premiere. I bought my ticket like 2 months in advance, and I was obsessed with this movie because this was, the first time, like, I really got into the MCU in 2011 with Cap and Thor, but I didn't really become a fanatic until 2015. Leading up to that, like, desperately searching for trailers and articles on this movie and learning anything I could. And I left that theater saying it was far and away the best Marvel movie ever made. It was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Because of all the setup, because of all, oh my God, Wakanda, oh my God, Thor Ragnarok, the Ragnarok we should have gotten. Oh my God, Infinity War, Thanos, blah, blah, blah. And I left that movie being so stoked for the future. And then now I look back at it and the future arrived. The future was better than the setup. And I was like, oh man, on its own, AOU is not exactly a hot rewatch. It's got great moments, but it falls into the bottom half of people's MCU rankings. Loki is very different. Don't get me wrong. It has much better storylines going on, more consistent tonalities with it. It's better directed, in my opinion. But I think a lot of people are praising it the same way people praised AOU when it first came out because of all the big implications down the line. Once AntMan Quantumania, once Multiverse of Madness hit, I think Loki is going to look a little less upon rewatch.
I think that's a really great point. And I think I was subject to that as well and still am. But and I'm not going to blame myself a little because it is still so exciting. And I have it ranked as my number one Disney Plus series so far, personally. I just thought, I don't know, I guess just Hiddleston as Loki is such just like a tier 1 A+ kind of matching there with a hero or a villain and an actor that I just couldn't get enough of it. But I want to throw this out there for you, get to your thoughts, Thomas. Is part of it where maybe I lowered at first I had like an 11 on my rankings, like really high, like above Black Panther, for instance. And I lowered it a little bit. Is Hiddleston in a way slowly less became the main character, which is actually like a main part of the show, introducing more and more and more, and these variants, and Sylvie taking over, and then kind of showing more, and then breaking into the multiverse. But that was one thing that I noticed that I kind of like, what if it was just a show about like what we kind of were expecting going in, at least maybe more casual people, less multiverse, and more just a Loki on the loose. And that's just kind of the little story. It became this whole grand thing, which is super exciting. Thomas, I want all your thoughts on Loki after you just rewatched all of it. So.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you guys more, dude. I think it does feel like a full TV season. And the reason for that to me is because, each episode, it covers a season's worth of adventure and information. It simultaneously is building on top of it at the speed of exponentially compounding interest. It ups the stakes along the way in every episode. Everybody hates Lamentis, but if you rewatch Lamentis, you got 5 to 10 minutes of them an action scene at the beginning and about 5 to 10 minutes of an action scene at the end. That amazing one shot that everyone loves. In the middle is what the show has been all about, and it's two people talking and character development for Loki. I think that the character deconstruction of Loki in episode 1, it presented the ability to make him feel like he could turn over a new leaf. And then we all kind of expected him to continue to be mischievous, and along the way, his growth, the journey led him to defending at the very end the universe that he knew, and the one we've been following since, for Liam 2011, since me, OG Iron Man 2008. Saw that motherfucker like 6 times in theaters. But he even stops fighting Sylvie, trying to prove his point. Once again, which is, his point was maybe he is a necessary evil, like Liam said, which I don't disagree. I also don't agree, but that's the thing with Kang in Fourth Dimension. It's kind of a hit or miss situation. I'm always in the middle on things. Good life. But he stops fighting, uses his words with Sylvie to peacefully resolve the situation, and it wasn't a trick like everyone kind of assumed, and it wasn't a lie. And he proved again that we're all redeemable, and that's what this series is about. And then when he gets shunned by Sylvie, gets the kiss and the betrayal, and then he's shoved back through the portal, the first thing he does is he sits there and he goes through his emotions and he grieves, because even if they weren't going to be a romantic thing, all he wanted was for other Lokis to see what he saw, which is that what we have done this entire time is stupid. It is illogical. We saw that in the Loki fight in 5. in Journey into Mystery. He's sitting there like, oh God, this is like bad theater of myself over and over and over and over again. Shout out Ragnarok, the version we did get. And I honestly think that nobody actually expected Loki to, at the very end, be the one who's like, no, we don't kill this guy. We need to find a better way. Because if we kill him, we lose all the information. And that's kind of the point of why when Sylvie kills him, it just goes downhill fast. I do want a Sylvie scene. I wonder if Kang, slightly off topic, if Kang walks in right after she sits down and starts crying and is like, oh, I had a feeling time would work differently here. You work for me now, Enchantress, or something. Like, it would be amazing. And then when Loki goes back, everything's changed. But I genuinely think that at the end of this episode, this might be a hot take. It might not be. With what Loki went through, I think he'd be worthy of Mjolnir. And that's where I think this show, I don't think it's going there, but as a Thor fan, if I had to rank it, he seemed worthy of Mjolnir at the end of that. He was willing to die by Sylvie's blade. He was willing to do everything he could to not escalate and not make things worse, and trying to look out for the betterment of everyone and not be a selfish prick for once.
Yeah.
Worthy.
Yeah. It's crazy. Loki is in full like hero mode now. And it's cool that we're getting this brand new version of Loki that has a future on the big screen if it's going to be in Multiverse of Madness. I didn't think I mean, it's just funny at this point. Like, no resurrections this time. It's like, okay, not really, but sort of. And like, what are the odds if we see him and Hemsworth back on the big screen together? I feel like better than they were 2 weeks ago, because clearly he has a future in the MCU. Not only in the MCU, but in like the grander scale of things. You know, it's funny. How was it rewatching it, Thomas? Like, did it feel like a movie? Because I feel like it's so like just one after the other, after the other.
It did not feel like a movie, which is why I said each episode feels like it's got a season's worth of information. It felt bigger than a movie to me. It kind of felt like Snyder's Justice League, and there's just so much dense information in there. But instead of it being this like hyper visual and shoddy story, it's kind of mundane visually at times, but great story. I mean, we got Kang the Conqueror. We got Nathaniel Richards like talking for 40 minutes. That's our finale.
Yeah.
And I think it was well done. I think it was captivating. And more importantly, I think what it did was it answered every question we had up to that point. And then it launched new questions about, okay, well, what's going to happen with Loki going forward? Which I don't know how much TV you've watched in your life, David, but like, that's what seasons do.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. You set up these questions, and unless you're lost in stuff in J.J. Abrams, you usually get answers to that. I do love Lost. I love the finale too. I'm a Lost lover. Just saying, there's a lot of questions left at the end of Lost, and I don't think whenever Loki the series ends, I don't think there will be many questions left about Loki.
Liam, you have any thoughts?
These will actually be my final thoughts because I got to hop out soon. But yeah, I'm a fan of the show. I'm excited to rewatch it to see if it changes anything in terms of my greater rankings, and I'm excited for season 2, and that's how I'll end it.
I do have one question for you, Liam. What is one multiversal wish you have that you want to see?
For myself personally, or in the MCU?
Both.
I'd love to see a Bucky cap. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And for myself, I would love for a variant Liam out there to be an all-star closing pitcher, because I think it's the coolest. Barely do any work, get all the spotlight, giant entrance music, stadium goes wild. Hug the catcher afterwards. That's my dream variant.
That's amazing.
Yes, that is a way to end your time with us. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on, man. Bringing takes I didn't expect.
Liam Crowley, the Direct Podcast. Check out the new episode tomorrow, wherever you get your audio podcast. I guess I'll be on it. Maybe. We'll see.
Keep an ear out for David.
You never
Thompson
know when you'll hear me on the old interwebs.
Big facts. Thank you, Liam. We'll let you get back to your busy day.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Happy belated birthday, brother.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And hey, anytime you guys want to have me back, you let me know.
All right, peace, man. Take it easy.
Take care, Captain. That was Liam Crowley, everyone. David, have we covered everything you wanted to talk about?
Practically. I mean, I really enjoyed this finale. Like for all like kind of just talking about the finale in general, it's such a unique, and I'll be honest, I don't know where you land. I think we're kind of similar in this, Thomas. I like the WandaVision finale. I liked the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale. A lot of people did not like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale because of I guess John Walker and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. I thought it worked personally. I think with Loki, I enjoyed this series more. I think the highs were higher and the lowers weren't as low for me compared to the other series personally. Like I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier had Sharon, who I thought was weak as the whole power broker thing. I didn't think that was as maybe cool and interesting as they wanted it to be. And Carly and the Flag Smashers ended up being not a great group of villains in my mind. John Walker was super, super interesting. A great new character in my head. Sam Wilson, everything that Bucky and Sam went through was so strong in that series. To me, like that's what carries it and makes it a really good series, better than WandaVision in my mind. WandaVision, the lows of Ralph Boner and having what I would say not a...
Oh my God.
What? That is a...
I am so tired of hearing the lows of Ralph Boner is the worst thing about that to you? That was like, oh, okay, it's a stupid throwaway gag that's going to get retconned in, Multiverse of Madness or because of Loki. I see through... David.
It was just poor. It was just poor. It was meta for no reason.
You're just not thinking fourth dimensionally, David.
No, I think I am, and they are too, and they were just like, here's this little gag. It was a gag at the end of the day, and I don't think it was
a gag. How do we know that's not actually Pietro? We don't. Who is Ralph Boner? That's not his name. That was his name inside the Hex, David.
In WandaVision Season 1, that's what we know, and that's what they give us, that he's just some random guy from this town. And I thought that was poorly done. But there's other things, too. I think it had a slow start comparatively in WandaVision. In the back and forth of... Mm-hmm. And I also think that Sword had a very weak introduction. I think Sword, in my mind, was supposed to have a lot...
like throughout the project, you mean?
Yeah, just like as a whole. Like I think Sword right now in my mind isn't even on my mind in the MCU. They're not even like a thought.
Oh. Well, they're on my mind, but that's only because I know that WandaVision takes place before Far From Home. And we see Nick Fury doing whatever he's doing up there, so
yeah, that's true. And I think I just feel like who was the main bad guy in
Tyler Hayward.
It was just like the TVA is so much more interesting than say Sword, kind of comparing those two, I guess, kind of companies or whatever you want to say, organizations where like the TVA being evil, quote unquote, like starting off and you don't know what they are and they end up kind of like being evil, like whatever. Sword, like they're supposed to be this new kind of shield kind of deal. And they ended up just not being like Hayward ended up just not being a good guy. And I don't know. I thought that was weak, and I'm kind of just harping on stuff probably already talked about, but I just thought Loki, to me, set up such a bright future for the MCU. I loved it so much. Hiddleston is absolutely killer in the role. I can't believe we're getting more of him. Kang was perfect. I have a couple complaints when it comes to Sylvie, but I still really enjoyed the performance, and I liked her character as an individual. I loved episode 5. To me, is really underrated. Like looking back, because so much fun. I had so much fun on The Void. Seeing all those. It might be my favorite episode. I think number 4 is because that's the Nexus event where like it ends with the Timekeeper's head coming off, and it's like this is crazy. This is amazing. Like television. Like, this is just so cool. But episode 5 might be my favorite, like, journey. just sitting down and watching that episode. Into mystery, man. And like, I think you said, or Liam earlier, like, the directing of Loki, I think, is the strongest. Like, they directed the hell out of it for such a crazy, wacky concept that is Loki. I feel like they like really knocked it out of the park. But yeah, I don't have that much more to add. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for Loki season 2, and I'm excited to see what happens in Multiverse of Madness, where we know this is going to continue on. I am actually very shocked Loki's going to be in that movie, if that's actually true. I'm really surprised by that, because I just don't know how or what or where and why, and fourth dimensionally, I guess.
You went everywhere. You had a lot you wanted to say. Clearly, David, I love you, man. I'm trying to like piece it all back together in my head because I can't find my pencil right now, so I wasn't able to take my notes. My ranking: number 1, Loki. Number 2, decent gap, WandaVision. Number 3, right there with WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. For me, I'll go bottom up. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, we might as well do our Disney Plus rankings.
Yeah, I just did mine.
Because what next week we're gonna probably do our total MCU ranking. You know how hard it's gonna be to fit Loki into this damn thing. I'm just gonna be real.
Yeah,
really honest, bro.
It's hard comparing it to movies too, in my opinion. Especially like so this series.
Because really now it's coming off of Love. And that's already like my top 2 are just because I love them so much. I don't think they're the best film. Or my top 1. I would argue Infinity Saga, Bananas, Macaulay. I didn't want to spoil anything. Nobody knows what I was going to say. My top 4 are bangers through and through that I love, and nothing will ever top them because of my love for them. But here, it's a little bit different. With Falcon and Winter Soldier, I got exactly what I was expecting. Like, very little of it surprised me or took me off kilter. Like Wakanda being included. I was like, oh, okay, yes, that does make sense. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Okay, Sharon's the power broker. Okay, we're doing this. The introduction of Val. Great, didn't see that coming either. And before we saw Sharon Carter, I didn't anticipate her to be a new villain potentially. But hey, we got that too. Overall, I got exactly what I anticipated I was going to get. WandaVision, I got a little bit more. Well, a lot more than I anticipated I was going to get. But overall, my ties to Wanda and Vision as characters is not as strong as Sam and Captain America. So that's why they're a lot closer together. Loki is my fucking brother in every way. And I don't even have a brother. Like a real flesh and blood brother. But if I had one, it'd probably be Loki. I feel like I'm Loki, but on the less mischievous side of things, if I'm being real. He's like the dark side. Honestly, dude, it's so good when you watch it all together. And again, like episodes 1 and 2 are like super toned together. But really, once you start that journey of jumping through time in episode 2 with Loki and Mobius, then you're on Lamentus, and it does move very fast. As you know, waiting week to week, it is what it is. But when you watch it, it's done like that. It is the shortest episode, I believe, right? 38 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
40 minutes.
I liked episode 3 personally.
Yeah, I did too. And then episode 4 happens, and it continues that frenetic pace. And then it just keeps adding on top of it. And then you get the Journey into Mystery. And Journey into Mystery is really the biggest departure. And it's really where the tone and the pacing stops. And it becomes something new. But that's just because what we've had so far is little teases, little reveals, little answers. Now we're getting, when you get pruned, you don't die. You get sent to this place. Well, what happens at this place? Okay, how do we get out of this place? Okay, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's very satisfying in how they set up so much and then gave us answers.
Exactly. And that to me is why it's number 1. And that is also why I say it feels like a television season. Especially watching it like that, because at the end, I literally was like, I'm so content. I'm full. I have questions, but I don't want them to give me answers because I know these questions will lead to better questions.
Yeah.
I think I had a thought, David, about.
I'm probably in the minority where I think where I'm like with, how I was saying it doesn't feel like a full like season to me. I would have maybe taken another episode, like episode 3, right? I feel like it moved at such a fast clip, which is so much fun. It's so much fun. We get so many answers. It's such like, time travel and jumping from world to world in different times. Then it ends with like blowing up the multiverse, which we all kind of expected once the series began, which is so cool. It actually happened. I would have, and it's it's just it's unique in the fact that it didn't really have this like big villain like the other series have kind of had, especially like Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's like, oh, and then you take down the villain and then you get set up for the next season. It's like the villain was the setup at the very end, and he was a mystery, right? A journey into mystery. It's like very complex, and I think part of it is like we're all villains here. That one line from Kang, which I absolutely love, where it's like no one can be trusted, and they're all villains. Even though Loki now is the biggest hero of them all out of those 3 at this point. Like he's kind of like on the straight and narrow, which is pretty cool, and I think probably so much fun for Hiddleston, who's played now so many different versions of this character over time and gone through now what feels like he's going through basically 2 different like character developments of the same character, which is really neat if you really think about it. Because like from 2020 and the normal Sacred timeline, he had a certain character development, and now from this new version of him getting popped out of the TVA, he's getting a whole new version of himself starting from that point. So really cool opportunity for Tom Hiddleston. I'm so happy that he's continuing to play the character and seemingly loving every minute of it, and keeps wanting to keep playing him.
Yeah, and I agree. Really, dude, it being in multiverse, like him being in Multiverse of Madness, really does make me not give a damn about speculating for season 2.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. We don't know
because and that's where the old quote comes in.
You're just not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Because when I do think fourth dimensionally, then it becomes okay. Well, season 2 could take place before Multiverse of Madness, and maybe Loki literally pops in, like does something in season 2, pops in, meets Doctor Strange, or it happens concurrently, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I do think at the very end of Loki, season 2, it'll be like, hey, Kang and AntMan, and it all leads to the quantum mania, brother. So thank you, man. I wasn't sure you were gonna get that one.
Yeah.
But I love this show so much. I'm very excited, and David, it's time to do the thing, David. I want more trailers of Spider-Man. I want more trailers of Spider-Man. Give me more trailers of Spider-Man. Okay, we're good.
It's funny.
I feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that out. I feel the same way. It's funny. We've sat here. This is a wrap of our Loki specials. It's been 6 weeks. We've had guests on every week. I feel like I'm out of Loki. Like I'm done. Like we can tap out now. We made it through. Because so much speculation, so much chat, like hours and hours of content for y'all listening on Loki throughout these 6 weeks. I mean, it's really been a ride. Like we were there every step of the way, obviously expanding our show, doing 2 a week, making a full episode dedicated with a guest every week, talking just about Loki. I mean, Loki was the biggest series so far for the MCU, and it was the biggest series so far for us here at LightsThunderAction. And it's been fun, man. I hope you had fun.
Oh, I always have fun in some way. David, speaking of, what are we going to do about What If? Any ideas yet?
I don't know what we're going to do about What If. Probably, I don't know. We'll see. That's coming up soon, though.
It is. It's August 11th, which is the day before MegaCon starts. And actually, David, I don't think we've announced this.
We've not.
We're going to have our panel. we're going to have a panel at MegaCon. It'll be on a day, Friday, I want to say at 2:45 p.m. unless time changes. And if you're thinking fourth dimensionally, time always changes. So it's going to be basically our show live and in person. And it's most likely, David, think about this. It's going to be the first time you and I have ever done a live version in the same location of space and time, dude.
I know.
At an event.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time we've done our podcast at all in person. And it's going to be at an event. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be talking the news. And since it's like 2 days after What If, I'm probably going to try and blow people's minds with insane ideas of where things probably will never go.
It's going to be fun, man. I've never been to a convention in my entire life.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. I have been telling a lot of people, I'm like, I think David's going to recognize what happens at conventions, and then he's going to be like, can we be at every convention? And I'm going to be like, yeah, let's do it, bro. Right. So I'm very, very excited for that. That was our kind of quick promotion. David, do you got any recommendations for people this week? Any MCU related research they might want to do after Loki, actually?
Well, I would say check out thedirect.com. We're writing a lot about, well, of course, Black Widow, and then just a lot breaking down the Loki finale, what that could mean for the future, breaking down more and more news coming out on Kevin Feige had some quotes about the future of the MCU just today. A writer for Loki had this, like, he was live tweeting last night talking about it, which had some really interesting information kind of about the show. Loki was affected, had an 8-month hiatus because of COVID filming, which is a crazy long time. So I'd check out thedirect.com, my work, everyone else's work, Liam's work, just keeping up with all that good stuff as we're in this section where a couple weeks until What If, and then couple months, I guess, now until Shang-Chi, which is the next live action Marvel Studios project. So very exciting. That'd be my recommendation. Go check out thedirect.com for all the breakdowns. Check out Liam's breakdown of that opening, what would you call it? Title screen, I guess.
Yeah, I called it the opening crawl because I didn't have an idea what to call it. And I like Star Wars. So
you literally picked out every single person that spoke during that. So if you want to find that out, go check out thedirect.com. Thomas, do you have any recommendations for our audience?
I have two, ladies and gentlemen. One, I of course, as soon as I say that, I forget both of them. One recommendation, post Loki, we're gonna keep it on TV and we're gonna keep it time travel really fast. Legends of Tomorrow. David, here's my pitch for you.
Speak highly of this.
Just watch season 5. All you need to know going in is there's a team, and I can run you down the characters really quick before you do it. But this one is a little less about time and a lot more sci-fi and aliens and alien invasions and invading alien planets. It's crazy. It's got a lot of Star Trek, Star Wars vibes in it. So that's what I recommend because it is about time travel and it's this big epic story, and there are about 16 episodes a season usually.
Right.
My second recommendation, if you are excited about the possibilities of what may happen in No Way Home, go watch, ladies and gentlemen, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, in my opinion, the greatest Spider-Man film and the greatest comic book film of all time. It's hard not to be the greatest comic book film of all time and not also be animated and break all the rules and set a bunch of new rewards and get a bunch of awards by creating new techniques. We got there. Highly recommend it because we just kind of got this in Journey into Mystery with Loki's, and now you get it with Spider-Man, and now hopefully, David, last thing before we get into our outro, I didn't ask you this. What's your one multiversal wish?
Oh, right. I'm basic, man. If the rumors of No Way Home are true, that's literally it. Genuinely, if the rumors weren't circulating, if we thought No Way Home was just about Spider-Man and his identity crisis, and it was with Kraven the Hunter or something, which were the initial thoughts on the movie, now it's turned into this bigger thing with Alfred Molina talking about joining back and the possibilities. genuinely my dream. It's always like just the idea of it's always been a dream of mine is to see all the live action Spider-Man on screen together. That's seriously it. And if we get that, I will be. I could stop watching. I genuinely could like stop watching like comic book movies after that. Like I would. I will not. Oh, I absolutely will not. But like I will be so happy if that actually happens. You have no idea, Thomas. You seriously have no idea.
I think I do, David. I think I do have an idea. Okay, I've been blessed with some cool stuff that I never thought I'd get to see. Cap wielding Mjolnir, and Thor being funny and just stealing my personality from 2015. Thanks, I'm not mad about it at all. Makes my job so much easier as a cosplayer. My multiversal wish, is I want an entire franchise in another universe.
Ultimate.
Starting a new universe, and then Kevin Feige be like, well, we're going to start, and maybe we already have that, but like in a lineup, and we just don't know it yet. But I'd love it to be like, hey, yeah, this is this. We wanted to tell this specific story, and it's kind of set in this other world, a what if kind of live action thing, but we wanted to tell that story without messing with our current continuity. So here it is. Here's a trilogy.
Right.
That's kind of what I want. I want it, and I would. You want to know? You want to know, David? Who I want it to be about? You really want to know? Fucking Spider-Man. I want an entire Spider-Verse trilogy of films because it's a huge event in the comics. Then they did it again. Did it even bigger. Yeah. And with all of the Sony characters, if they were just like, "Hey, Kevin Feige, what is your thoughts on doing a Spider-Verse? Who would you bring in?" And they like work together just to build this exterior Spider-Verse event trilogy, not just a film, a trilogy of it. That's my one multiversal wish. I want it. I need
big dreams.
Big dream. Hey, that's why I was like, that's your one. I appreciate it because you're hoping it really comes fulfilled. Mine was big, dude. That's the only one. That was only one. I have so many. So many. Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Chris Evans, Captain America, and Johnny Storm meeting. That's one. Anyways,
that's
like I have so many little ones, so many big ones. That's probably the biggest one I've thought of so far. But ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the show. We've not touched the comments once in this. We are terrible people. It's been Terry McIver coming in hot with information all day long. He also asked a question. What year did He Who Remains say he was from? It was 3000. It is, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 3158.
Oh, was it exact? I thought he said he was from the 31st century.
I don't remember, but I feel like 3158 was the year that he said. I don't know why that number is in my head. It could be a Mandela effect. It always happens, like I said at the beginning. But we've come to the end of the show. Excuse me, I had to burp in the middle. As always, there could be no show without world-famous journalist, Clark Kent doppelganger, David Thompson, bringing the news in spicy webs. Thank you to Terry McIver for his hard work behind the scenes with guests, socials, and research, without whom this show would be Bush League. Thank you to the HWWSWebTV family for supporting us and carrying us on their network. That's Twitch and Facebook. No, wrong. Twitch and YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what just happened. Did you do that, Dave?
I did not.
That was creepy. Anyways, most importantly, thank you to you, our fans, for joining us weekly. Whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube,
or listening via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Spreaker,
we appreciate you spending your time with us.
Please like, follow, subscribe, drop us a comment, leave a review, and give us 5 stars if you are feeling generous. We appreciate all of your support.
As always, I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
I'm David Thompson.
And thank you for joining Loki special finale of Lights, Thunder, Action. We'll see you all next week. For all time.
Always.